KMES English Medium Junior College welcome its students for 9th online lecture of Psychology for Chapter 2nd Intelligence. Topic: Types of Intelligence Tests. Students, in the previous lecture, we have studied about measurement of intelligence. In that, we have studied about history of measurement of intelligence and concepts related to measurement of intelligence. We have seen that there are two concepts related to measurement of intelligence. They are mental age and intelligence quotient. Today we are going to study about types of intelligence tests. These tests are classified on two ways. One, based on method of administration. Second, based on material used for the test. Methods of administration of the test are individual tests and group tests, whereas material used for both the tests are verbal tests of intelligence and non-verbal tests of intelligence. Introduction. Psychologists use variety of intelligence tests to measure intelligence. All the tests are classified into following main categories. They are individual tests of intelligence, group tests of intelligence, verbal tests of intelligence, and non-verbal tests of intelligence. Individual test of intelligence is where one individual is tested at a time. Group test of intelligence is group of individuals are tested together. Verbal test of intelligence make use of language and paper and pencil. Non-verbal test of intelligence, also known as performance test, involves activities in which use of language is not necessary. Individual tests of intelligence. Intelligence tests that can be administered to a single individual at a time are called individual tests of intelligence. Some examples of individual tests of intelligence are Binet scale of intelligence, Wechsler scale of intelligence, Dr. Bhatia performance test, Coe's of design, etc. Both verbal and non-verbal tests can be administered in individual tests of intelligence. Advantages of individual tests of intelligence. The test administrator can establish a good rapport with a client. The test administrator can get information about the client's feelings, mood and expression while performing the test. This test is capable of measuring creative thinking of a client. Disadvantages of individual tests of intelligence. Individual tests are time-consuming. Individual tests are costly. Individual tests require a trained and skillful examiner. Group test of intelligence. Intelligence tests that can be administered to more than one person at a time are called group tests of intelligence. Examples of group tests of intelligence are Army Alpha test, Army Beta test. Advantages of group tests of intelligence. Group tests are less time consuming. Group tests are economical. Group test does not require a trained and skillful examiner. It means group test is also known as mass testing, where many persons are tested at a time. It does not require much time. Since it does not require much time, it is economical. The role of the examiner is also minimal. He does not need any specialized training for conducting the test. Disadvantage of group test of intelligence. The test administrator cannot establish a good rapport with the client. The test administrator cannot obtain cooperation and maintain interest of the client. Group tests are less capable of measuring the creative thinking. So, certain drawbacks of the group test of intelligence are: the administrator of the test does not get an opportunity to visit each individual, so he is not aware of the individual feeling, mood and expression while he is performing the test. The administrator is also unable to maintain interest of the client. Another drawback of this test is that it cannot measure the creative aspect of intelligence. Verbal tests of intelligence. Intelligence tests that use language for measuring intelligence are called verbal tests of intelligence. Verbal means language. In this test, the client has to respond verbally to the test item. Some of the examples of verbal tests of intelligence are Army Alpha test, Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale, etc. Advantages of verbal tests of intelligence. Verbal tests of intelligence are useful to measure higher mental abilities. Verbal tests of intelligence are useful to differentiate between people having average intelligence and people having above average intelligence. So, verbal test of intelligence is very useful for measuring creative and higher mental ability of an individual. Disadvantage of verbal tests of intelligence. This test cannot be given to people having different linguistic backgrounds, small children and illiterate people. These tests are cultural bound and therefore cannot be used in other cultures. There are certain drawbacks of verbal tests of intelligence. Since it requires use of language It cannot be given to people who does not know the language in which the test is being given. It cannot be given to the small children and even to illiterate people. Since this test is made according to the culture of the place, it is culture bound. Therefore, it cannot be administered on the foreigners also. Non-verbal tests of intelligence. Intelligence tests that use picture, design, material, object, etc. to measure intelligence are called non-verbal tests of intelligence. Non-verbal tests are of two types: performance tests and paper-pencil tests. Quiz block design tests, block building tests, Dr. Bhatia are non-verbal tests based on performance, whereas progressive matrices, raven color, these are some of the examples of paper-pencil tests. Advantage of non-verbal tests of intelligence. Non-verbal tests can be given to people having different linguistic backgrounds, illiterate people and small children. Performance tests are useful to measure intelligence of differently able people. These tests are culture-free and therefore can be used in other cultures. So, some of the advantages of non-verbal tests of intelligence are: this test does not require to respond verbally to the test item. Since it does not require a use of language, it can be given to all sorts of people, to illiterate people, to small children, to foreigner and mentally retarded ones. This test is culture free and therefore it can be given in all cultures. Disadvantage of non-verbal tests of intelligence. Non-verbal tests of intelligence are less suitable to measure higher mental abilities. Non-verbal tests of intelligence are less suitable to differentiate between people having average intelligence and people having above average intelligence. So, there are certain drawbacks of non-verbal test of intelligence. It is not capable to measure higher mental abilities. It is not able to differentiate between average intelligence and above average intelligence people.